In 35 years of business, I've had some great successes. I've had some huge failures. I've had some tragedies. I've been attacked, threatened, all that kind of stuff. But if you watch my podcast a while back, I think it was titled God Owns My Business. So I can pretend to be in charge of a lot of things, but there are some things I am not in charge of. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I am, I guess, never satisfied on trying to be the best, trying to grow, trying to be number one. But I'm very content in my life in what I do, and I'm fulfilled with my accomplishments. Do I want to achieve more? Absolutely. For all the right reasons. But I'm extremely content where I'm at and what I'm doing. And there is a difference between a high achiever who is never happy, never content, never satisfied. There's a difference. And I can only give God the credit because he calms my spirit when I need calmed. And he is in charge of my life. And he gets all the credit. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Hey, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurship, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams. Today, we're going to be talking about the contented achiever. Is there such a thing? Yes, there is. I be one, and I know a lot of other people who are as well. But let me define the contented achiever for you. It's someone who is successful and fulfilled in their accomplishments. They are motivated, energetic, and goal-oriented, but they also enjoy the process of learning and achieving. That's a contented achiever. You see, achieving contentment while still having a strong drive to achieve is more of a dynamic balance that we have to strive for. Or you're just going to be miserable. You're going to, we talk about family business balance. You want to be out of balance? Go home miserable and kicking rocks every night. See what that does for your marriage and your family. But in this state, it involves appreciating what you have and where you are in life, yet at the same time, seeking growth and improvement. So here's some ways that we're going to cultivate this balance. Is that fair? Okay. Number one, I talk about this often, but we must set clear and achievable goals. Because being content does not mean stagnation. Being content does not mean you're not looking for the next deal or the next sale or the next opportunity. You're not stagnated. I look at more of being content, more accomplished, more satisfied, more done correctly, okay? So, set clear, achievable goals. Being content does not mean stagnation. Setting goals should challenge us, but they can still be achieved. Goals should motivate us, not detract us from our contentment. Here's some examples. I want to grow by a certain percentage. These are goals that are achievable. I want to grow by a certain percentage every year. And what's achievable for me? Somewhere between 20 and 25%. That's achievable for me. Your number might be 12%. Your number might be 40%. I don't know. But my number that is achievable year after year after year, I know we've grown, like since 2020, we've grown 88%. So our number is between 20 and 25%. Man, that's a solid number for us, and it's achievable, and that's what we push for, and that's what we look for, and we measure and track that every single month. I want to hire a new position or hire a certain person by a certain date, and I put that date out there, and I make it happen. That's a clear and achievable goal. You have to hustle. I hired a coach one time, and he held me accountable. The story goes, he said, I want you to write me a check for $10,000. Or here's what he said. I want you to write me a check for a certain amount, and you have to hire these 3 positions and have them filled by a certain day. That he knew I had 3 positions I wanted to fill. And he said, how much is that worth to you? Can you write me a check for $20,000? And I was like, no, I mean, this was a while back. And I was like, no. And he goes, well, I know you can write me a check for $10,000. So write me a check for $10,000. So I went back to the office and I had a check written for $10,000 to him. And he said, I'm going to hold it. But he said, if you don't hit your goal, I'm going to give it to someone you don't want to have it. If you hit your goal, I'm going to give it to you, and I want you to go out and buy something for you and your wife that you've been wanting for $10,000. I said, that's fair. And he held me accountable, and I had $10,000 on the line. I don't know how many people would do that. I've coached a lot of people. I just don't know how many people would do that. Again, I'm made differently. That was best compliment someone gave me the other day. They said, you're just made differently. Yeah, I am. But I put out $10,000. And at the time, that was 15 years ago. 20 years ago. So anyway, I got all 3 of them hired. It was like 2 days before I was supposed to. And I got all 3 positions hired. And then I want to buy a certain revenue. So I'm going to buy a certain tool, equipment, vehicle, whatever it is. When we hit this certain amount of revenue, we're buying that. Okay. And it could be net revenue. It could be net profit. It could be whatever, but it's a goal and it's achievable. That's what I'm getting at. Because a lot of people ask me, well, what are achievable goals? There you go. I gave you 3 examples right there. All right. Number 2, practice gratitude. We can cultivate contentment through regular practices of gratitude. See, personally, I'm thankful to God for all he's done for me from day one when I committed my business to him. I said, God, you own my business. I'm going to be the best steward, the best manager I can be, and please hold me accountable to that. But you own my business. So let's go. Let's get this. It's kind of like the story about the big elephant and the little mouse, and they crossed that bridge, and this bridge was shaking like crazy, and they finally got across, and that little mouse looked up to the elephant and said, man, we really shook that thing, didn't we? Me and God, we're the majority. We're shaking things. We're making things happen. And I've had good times and I've had bad times. Just because God owns my business doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory and everything's perfect and great and we're doing $500 million a year or something ridiculous. No, it's hard. It's not easy. I've accepted the challenge. It's not God testing me or anything like that. It's just life's hard. Business is hard. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. If it was easy, 95% of the people wouldn't fail within the first 10 years of business. It's hard. Face it. It's hard. Someone just sent me something today on Facebook. Her husband died. Her child lost an arm. She lost her home. She was homeless. And something else happened, all within a 4-year period. Life's hard. So, but this doesn't prevent our ambition. Rather, it provides a foundation for which we can pursue further achievements. All right, let me ask you something. Are you all thanked up? Everyone in your life that deserves a thank you, have you thanked them? Have you thanked them in your business? I mean, I try to do that. I try to do that right away. There have been people that have helped me get to the next level in business, and I thank them. There have been people that have helped me learn things along the way, and I thank them. And I thank my wife, and I thank my children, and I thank my team often. Thank you. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you. So are you all thanked up? Who do you need to thank today? Think about it, and then go do it. You can do the old school way and buy a really nice card and send it to them. You can send them a text. You can send them an email. You can do whatever, but thank them. Number 3, embrace a growth mindset. You see, adopting a growth mindset, which is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work, is the key. Now listen to this. A growth mindset in business is the belief that skills and abilities can be developed through effort. Kind of what I just said. It's a way of thinking that encourages learning, innovation, and resilience. Yes, it's possible, and you have to have it. You have to adopt and embrace a growth mindset. If you don't have that, you're going to be very disappointed, because you're not going to be any different today than you will be in a year. Or you're not going to be any different in a year than you are today. About 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Any different? Not if you don't have a growth mindset. All right, number 4, differentiating between contentment and complacency. Boy, this is a good one. It's important to distinguish between being content and being complacent. You see, contentment is about peace and satisfaction. And that's what I'm getting at. I should have said this from the get-go. I go home at night. I shut things off the best I can. And now I'm at home. I'm chilling. I'm family. And I'm peaceful. I have peace. And I have satisfaction that everything I did today or that day, I did to the best of my ability, and I did it right. Oh, do I get things wrong? Yeah, probably every day. But by the time the end of the day is, I've either fixed my wrong or someone else has fixed my wrong. But I'm satisfied. And I'm peaceful. Man, that's the key. Peace. I sleep good at night. I don't have anything keeping me awake at night. It's one of the first questions I ask when I start coaching someone is, what keeps you up at night? I get a wide variety of answers, hoping my business will work. Someone said the other day, a good one, I said, no, that is not an answer. They said, I'm afraid, what keeps you up at night? I'm afraid that I'll grow too fast. That should never be keeping you up at night. Never. That's a good problem to have. No, I teach every day. You don't want to grow too fast. You start growing too fast, you're going to go under. But when you're sitting around worrying about growing too fast, when you don't have enough work right now, that's a problem. Because you're not even giving yourself a chance. You haven't hired anyone to fulfill growing too fast. So that's a bad answer. I told him, that's a bad answer. You have no idea how you'll handle growth until you get there. But if you're prepared for growth, chances are you're going to handle it a lot better. All right? And as a Christian, I realized I can't control things. I suck when I try to control too many things I can't control. Here's a few things I can't control. And I'm in the HVAC business and now plumbing for over a year. But I can't control the weather. I joke about it all the time, say I'm working on it, but I cannot control the weather. And if it's not hot and it's not cold, you can't make somebody have a service call or buy a new system. That's fact. So I cannot control the weather. I cannot control other people and their Stupid decisions. I can't control that. People make stupid decisions, and sometimes it affects me, but I can't control that. And I can't control accidents. I can't control other people's mistakes. I can't control errors. There's just a lot I can't control. I know what I can control, and I'm going to do my best with God's help to help me control that, to manage it efficiently. But there's a lot of things I can't control. And number 5, lastly, understanding real contentment. I got some of this content, by the way, on this number 5 right here. I got some of this content from and I'll put it up here on the screen, but it's a 1942 World War II devotional that they gave out to guys going into combat. And yes, that's all there was going into combat back then were men, guys. So they gave them out, handed one. They're little hardback books, something you'd never get today. But they're little hardback books. And in 2020, when I was going through a really bad time and I was attacked and I was threatened, a good friend of mine, another Marine friend, handed me that. We went out for coffee and he handed me that book and he said, turn to today. It's dated every day. So I turned to today and I read it, and it was made just for me. He said, it's yours. You can have it. And since then, I've bought other people a few because they're just so powerful. Now, they don't make them anymore. You got to get them on eBay because they're not made anymore. You're just buying a used 1942 devotional, which is extremely powerful. But understanding real contentment. Listen to this. Contentment is not a gift. You're not born with contentment. You don't just get it by doing nothing. It's an achievement. It's a prize to be won. Look at it. Look at contentment as a prize to be won. It will not dwell inside a jealous person or an envious person or a person with hate in their heart. It can't survive there. And worry and fear will absolutely destroy it. Also, selfishness and uncontrolled ambition. There's a lot of people in business that have uncontrolled ambitions. Get rich quick. Don't wait. Okay? Instant gratification. So, selfishness and uncontrolled ambition will zero out contentment. Our hearts must be clear and forgiven. As Christians, a lot of Christians listen to this podcast. If you're not a Christian, your heart still needs to be forgiven. You still have to ask God to forgive you. Nobody else can forgive you. Oh, you can say something wrong to your wife and say, will you forgive me? And she might say yes. But God is the only God. He's the only one that can cleanse your heart from previous sins if you ask him. And he can forgive you. So our hearts must be clear. When I say that, it's kind of a Christian term. I won't say religious term, but Christian term. And my heart's clear. I don't have a lot of static. I don't have a lot of sin blocking my view. I've been forgiven. My heart is clear. I'm clear on this. So our hearts must be clear and forgiven. We can't hold grudges or stay angry very long, or you will not be content. You will be miserable. I would be miserable. So contentment is a gift. It's an achievement. It's a prize won. And it will not dwell in us if we have a lot of sin. Jealousy is a sin. Enviness is a sin. Hate is a sin. Worry is a sin. Fearing is a sin. The Bible says God did not give us the spirit of fear. So we have to make it up ourselves. It's brought on. It's self-induced. Of course, Satan has something to do with it, but we allow it. If you're fearful, you allow yourself to be fearful. All right. Now listen to this. By maintaining this balance, we can enjoy the benefits of being content wherever we are, whatever we do, which provides emotional stability and happiness. I mean, everybody wants to be happy, right? While still striving to accomplish more and reaching more and more goals, okay? And more levels of achievement. It's okay. It's not a sin. It's okay. I say it's in me. I think I talked about that the other week. It's the way I'm made. It's my DNA. It's my personality. I just found out the other day, I'm an ENTJ. If you look that up on the Myers-Briggs and read about me, it's scary. I'm only in the 2 percentile. I like to be in the 1, but in this case, I'm only in the 2 percentile of the entire Myers-Briggs personality, which is extremely well known and solid for personality tests. I'm in the 2 percentile. There's only 2 out of 100 like me. That's scary. It's just the way I think. I told you from the get-go, I'm made differently. That's just the way I'm made. You're made differently too. It's how you are. God made you. So it's okay to strive to accomplish more. It's okay. And still be content. Isn't that funny? And still be content. I'm not losing sleep over striving more. I just enjoy striving more. And it's not the more that gets me. It's not the money. It's not any of that. It's just striving for more. It's making the deal. It's making the sale. It's negotiating and winning. Those types of things drive me. And the byproduct of those are typically money, growth, all those types of things. It's okay. Put it in the right perspective. It's always okay. I want to just say a couple things more about contentment, and we're wrapping it up here, but contentment is inward. It must be emphasized that contentment is inward. This means it comes from the inside of us. Remember, it's a prize to be won rather than from something external. We earn it. We achieve it. It's not a gift. Joyfully rests in God's providence. This characteristic reveals that the reason we can be content is rooted in God's good providence, meaning that He is truly in control and orchestrating all the things in our life, all the things. If we believe that, then nothing can throw us off. That's a promise. Nothing can throw you off. If you believe that your joy rests in God's providence, nothing can throw you off. Oh, it might make you step back for a minute and take a deep breath, but it's not going to throw you off because God owns it anyway. Whether you've given Him ownership of it yet or not, He still owns it. Okay? All right, so we have number 1, set clear, achievable goals. Number 2, practice gratitude. Number 3, embrace a growth mindset. Number 4, differentiating between contentment and complacency. And number 5, understanding real contentment. Man, that's powerful. I really enjoyed studying about this before I got to talk about it, and I hope I said it well enough to get it across to you. Please leave me some notes in there for a change, and let me know how I did, please. All right. Before we wrap up, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe below. You can also support this podcast by rating on iTunes or your preferred listening platform. I'll do my best to keep challenging you every week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Greg McAfee Show. No spaces, no underscores. Thanks for listening. As always, carry on. God bless. Make this day the best day of your life, because we're not promised tomorrow. I'll see you later.